Hi, it's Michael from Culture Talk and Tours, and I'm here again at Lei Gallery for the opening of Ty Martin's show, Monstrous, here in Taichung City. Ty, thank you for your time. And again, the opening is starting soon, so we're hoping to have a quick interview. Thanks for taking the time to meet with us before your big opening.
My pleasure, thanks.
And where are you from, Ty?
I'm from Texas.
Texas and US of A.
Yep.
And Ty, original name, stage name, artist name?
No, Ty. I usually just like to go by Ty. That's my
Okay.
first name, but it is spelled Thai because I have hippie parents.
Cool. And this is quite a different show that we've seen here at Lei Gallery. What is your main medium that you're using? You're doing a little bit of everything.
I do a lot of different media.
Like this one here?
This one here is Copic marker and ink.
Okay.
Those are alcohol-based blending markers, and then just next to it are a series of smaller pieces that are all done with ink and watercolor.
Okay.
But those are the two media that I use the most of.
Okay. And are you sketching things first? You're just using this size of paper and
Right.
you draw first?
These are all the originals.
Okay.
I usually, for this is the result of a daily art challenge.
Okay.
This one is called, this is the wrong placard, and I'm glad we found that before the show.
Okay.
But this is from a challenge called Creationary. Some
Right.
guys from Spain put that one together, so I think that's why the name is so hard to say.
Okay.
But basically, it's a creature per day. And so these I did in 2022, and these I did at the beginning of this year. These are in Copic marker, and these are in watercolor. What I typically do is I will sketch them out in a sketchbook, just one page for the word that was for the day. For instance, this word, this was actually January 1st, 2022, piranha dog. And so
Okay.
I usually just come up with a few different ideas on the one that sticks. I then sketch it onto the paper and then ink it and color it. And I scan it at each step, so if I mess it up, I can start over.
Okay, and I did see this on your Instagram, so you are posting that. We will, of course, post all of Ty's social media information. And then these ones, and then these ones beside it, these are also originals?
These are all also originals. This is the first year I did Kaijun, which
Okay.
is currently on right now.
Okay.
And, this will be easy. I just have to switch these two plaques.
Okay.
This one is the idea. A kaiju is a giant monster, something like Godzilla or the monsters from Pacific Rim. And so
Right.
just like these other challenges, they give you one word per day, and then you design a monster off of that. For example, this one, the word for this day was shell. So I
Okay.
drew some monsters coming out of a shell.
Right. And you've got it with famous buildings around the world? Okay.
This year, I had a very close friend of mine give me a list of skyscrapers and monuments around the world that he liked, and I just
Cool.
paired them. And I have to say, as much as I love designing monsters, the buildings far outshined the monsters in
Right.
their popularity when I did them.
Okay. So I see we've got, this is Macau here, Dubai.
I don't know where that is. It's called the Burj Al Arab. It's
Yeah.
in Saudi Arabia.
Yeah, and Chichen Itza, and this is the barrage. That's in Dubai.
Khalifa,
right?
that's
Yeah.
in Dubai.
Is that Emirates then, maybe?
Yeah, Saudi Arabia, I think.
Yeah.
I think.
And Taj Mahal, Egypt, Turkey,
Yeah.
and this one. Maybe someday your face will be on there.
Hopefully not.
And we've got
Rio.
and the Leaning Tower,
Mhm.
Statue of Liberty,
Yeah.
and Sydney.
Opera House. I was terrified to do this one. I just thought that building was going to be so hard to draw.
Right.
And I'm really happy. We have a poster of this building in my school that I teach at.
Right.
And every time I see it, I think, oh, I drew that thing once.
Right.
Even though it's really tiny.
And you saying that, so you are a teacher, you're also a graphic designer, and you're branching out into art as well.
Yeah. So I'm a graphic designer and web designer by career. I've been doing that since before I moved to Asia. And to keep my visa here in Taiwan, I teach at the Bushiban, or a cram school, and I'm very lucky that my school lets me do art as well as English classes.
Cool.
And so that's a lot of fun.
And how did you find yourself in Taiwan from the States coming here?
Well, I came to Taiwan from China. I was
Okay.
working and living there for about a year,
Right.
and then I came here for a conference at the beginning of 2020 and wasn't able to leave or go return to China because of the COVID pandemic.
Right.
And so I actually left Taiwan for the first time this January. I've never stayed in one country for that long in many years.
Right.
So,
But now you're here,
yeah, this is home now.
yeah, and you're liking it. And this behind us here, is this the calendar that you were talking about?
Yes, this is the calendar. So last year I started a tradition of doing a daily sketch. Just something quick, something to make sure that every day I'm creating, coming up with an idea, working on a technique, something. And I did that in a planner that I was going to bring and forgot. But for this year, I'm doing this on a desk calendar. The first two, I was traveling internationally and it had to go with me in my backpack, so I had to fold it up. But this one was just basically whatever I thought to sketch each day. And then in February, I had planned on doing the Funguary Art Challenge, which is basically like these other, except they're mushroom themed. But so I decided to pair that with daily sketching out each of the mushrooms that were featured. Unfortunately, because of travel and illness, I wasn't able to do that art challenge this year, but that's kind of how I did it. March is just monsters. These are all done, and I started to theme them from here on out. These are all just done in watercolor and ink.
Right.
And then I was experimenting with Posca markers here in April, and I started clumping days together, but I would still only do the one day at the time. So I would do the 7th and the 8th, and then I'd go the week here.
Oh, cool.
And then here in May, I just finished this one, which is warped a little bit due to the humidity, which is normal. But this one, I wanted to do long monsters. I actually thought to do one long monster, but I thought it'd be more interesting to kind of have them weave in. And I guess this kind of has a bit of a Lovecraftian feel to it, and so.
And things like this, did you know this was going to be a lumberjack afterwards?
Yeah.
So you had an
those
idea.
were planned, yeah.
Okay.
These are not planned. From one to the next, I make it up there, but this one and this one are the two that are more than one square, and I knew what they would be from the beginning.
So you knew what was going to come from that afterwards.
Mm-hmm.
And then these ones behind us here?
So this is something that I'm hoping to finish as a project soon.
Okay.
This is a children's book. I got
wonderful.
sick in 2021. I got sick with like a sore throat and was sick for like 4 or 5 days. And during that time, I had this idea for this story. And the next 2 days, I painted all of these.
Wow.
They're done with ink, and when I say ink, I usually use like a marker, a pen, to do the ink here. This ink is done with like an actual like dip brush for the darker areas in this. But this is a story about a little witch named Little Baba. And at the beginning of the story, she wants to have fun with her vampire friend, but it's too sunny. So she needs to go find a way to make it cloudy. So she visits the Mighty Magic Potion Shop and is told that she needs to get a potion that can make it cloudy by getting different things from her place where she lives. So she goes and looks for a fish's scale, and she finds a purple feather, and she gets a laugh from a ghost. But by the time that she's done getting all these things together, making the potion, the sun has set, and she's able to play with her vampire. But what I hope to explore in this story was the idea of hard work, sacrifice, and this is a little bit harder to like package with all of this, but emotional regulation. Often we don't want other people to feel around us because it makes us feel, and we try to manipulate other people. So when Little Baba is confronted with her sad friend, she doesn't choose to just make her happy so she can get a laugh from her, but she listens to her, cries with her, and sits with her, and then she says she needs to go because she has to go find a ghost that feels like being happy. But her friend wants to help her anyway. So she does her friend helps her, but this is my favorite part of the story because it's teaching people to allow other people to feel. And
more to it than just a simple story. Wow.
And I'm hoping to have this published soon because I just need to have another round of editing, and I gotta add one more drawing somewhere.
So you're gonna write it and illustrate it.
I would love to illustrate more, and I don't need to write it, but I've been trying to find somebody to write a story for me, but this one just came to me. So.
So something good came out of not feeling well.
Yeah, it often does, really.
That's great. So we often do things where we stay in touch with artists. So if you're starting a painting, when you finish it, you send it to us. We update our viewers. So we'll keep in touch with Ty, and we'll learn what progress he's making on this project. I think it's wonderful. Now, we met you at the Morrison Christmas Bazaar, where we also met Abigail Nelson. We just interviewed her last week and all of her fabulous work. And she does something that you also do, which is stickers, which is quite interesting. Is that what's behind us here? Okay, let's have a look at those.
So this area, these are originals. These were all created with the intention of them becoming stickers. Some of what we've already seen I turned into stickers after the fact. But over here on the right and the left are the actual stickers that I've stuck onto paper. These ones look better on white, and those ones look better on not white. But yeah, I just love the idea of a sticker as a very light low profile thing that you can use to represent your own expression and carry someone else's art around with you. Kind of like the idea of a tattoo, but much less permanent.
Right. And this is what, when we met you, you had a lot of these and you had a crowd around you. And this is very kind of what's happening here in Taiwan. We got the milk tea and a lantern. And I love that you've changed like a steam bun into this kind of sinister character.
It's gonna bite back.
Yeah, they're great. So again, is this a sketch and you know where it's going, or you just kind of go with it?
These, I'll sometimes sit down and think. Some of them will come to me really easily. This bowl of noodles is actually something I've done several different times in different ways.
Right.
I actually made a tarot card as a commission for someone that was the bowl of noodles, like the major arcana, but it was that. And so that style of bowl I do a lot with the Taiwan flag re-represented on there.
Cool.
Let's see, these actually, this is gonna, hopefully another thing we can keep track of, but it's been a long time. I'm gonna have a hard time matching colors. So these are the heads. A coworker gave me the idea to do heads, bodies, and lower bodies.
Oh, cool.
And then people could actually mix and match to create their own creature out of those things. And so I have the bodies, the torsos, drawn out and inked, but I don't have them colored yet. And part of it is a lot of my markers have dried up and I have to replace them. And I also have to figure out how to match the colors back for the ones who's got like this one's body needs to be orange like his head.
Right.
So
we'll keep in touch and learn about that project as well. Now these are the finished product stickers.
Yes.
So I can see the little steam bun there. And Ty has been so kind to gift me with my own copy of this. And this is your book?
Yes, it's a book. It actually has a lot of what's on display here, and it gives some information as to where they came from and how they came to be.
Okay.
And a little bit about me in there.
Okay, and a postcard and some stickers at the back. So maybe we'll do a separate little video where we'll just do an unboxing, and we'll see what's here. And then what do we have on this wall?
So this is kind of the beginning of where everything else happened. I came to Taiwan in 2020, as I said, and that was in January, and by April or May, I really, really needed a break. I needed to take like 2 weeks off just to rest. I've never been great about vacation. And I basically determined all I'm gonna do is draw and paint and play video games.
Right.
And I ended up doing most of just painting. But this piece right here is a series of what I call doodle art. Many people would refer to this style as doodle art. And this, unlike these others, there's no idea beforehand. There's a shape, and then it's fill the shape with stuff. And I chose a lot of weird, gross things, and that kind of feeds into everything here is what makes something disgusting or monstrous. But and so these, I was so happy with the way they turned out. These are watercolor and ink that I started doing one of these type of drawings every day. And I have a sketchbook that's not finished. And I didn't bring those, unfortunately. Maybe another time we can look at sketchbooks or a studio tour. And so these were kind of the first set to come out of this. And then over time they evolved into being a little bit more of a picture. Like here we have the color wheel represented: red, orange, yellow, green, blue, violet. Then some images like this one. I think the idea for this one is like heat of the desert, delirium. This one I named Advent of the Nameless Moon. And whenever I post it, I usually come up with some kind of story, but that's very much on the spot or something I was thinking about while doing it. And the idea is that there's this religion or an entire society that a part of their worship, their religion, is this moon that has no name, or it's not there, it's gone, it's missing. But the moon shows up. And so that throws all of their religion, which is all about expectation and arrival, into chaos because the event has happened. And so the post included, now there's factions. One faction is trying to find a name for the moon, and the other one has started worshiping the idea that it will go away. And I think that obviously ties into my history growing up as a Christian. There's a huge idea of expectation in Christianity, and I try to explore those thoughts in weird, goofy ways, and always asking, what if? And the last doodle style drawing that I've done is this one that I call the dinner party. It's the one that's the cover of the book, and I used it. And the idea here is I read most of Lovecraft's work at the beginning of this year, and again, it's that look into monsters, what makes them monstrous, And so here's the little story that I posted on Instagram, and then a little bit that I added for the show. But it's just an idea that these crazy creatures are just having dinner together.
Right.
That's it. Have something mundane. I love mixing that idea of the fantastical and the mundane together.
Right. It's just so different from anything that we've seen, and to hear the background story makes it interesting. I love the way that you've hung the show. Now, did you have a plan for this, or did John help you with it, or?
He definitely helped with the mechanics of getting it up and keeping it up.
Right.
I asked him his advice and say, "What's this look good here? What do you think about this?" But the idea of kind of starting with a beginning and then a progression was definitely my idea, and then kind of keeping like things together. Of course,
Right.
that comes from being a graphic designer. You have to know how to arrange and display information.
And sometimes, because I had my show here in March, and I had the idea in my head, but John really helped to kind of put it together.
Oh yeah.
Now again, this is Ty's opening night, so we're going to let him get ready for the crowds. But we do want to thank you for taking the time. It's been great to get in touch with you again. And hopefully we'll be able to do a studio tour behind the scenes.
I love that.
Where all of this came from. You do have a space at your place that you're working on work. And are you going to be doing any gallery sittings, or is it tonight?
I am definitely open to gallery sittings. I have a lot of friends that were out of the country and out of town that couldn't come, so I'm definitely interested.
Yeah.
I don't know that we'll have time to get it together this month, but we even talked about the idea of doing some kind of workshop for daily art and kind of knowing how to make that a very developmental project.
I understood that. I did 2 Saturdays, or 1 Saturday and 1 Sunday, because I find, again, the opening, you do have a big crowd, but you do have friends. Some are in Taipei, they're not able to come. So if you are able to do it, I do recommend it. So again, he's got his opening. John's opening the door right now for the crowds to come in. Thank you again for your time. All the best.
My pleasure.
Lots of success tonight. And we'll see you on the next episode.
Bye-bye.
Good? Good. Thank you. That was wonderful.
Thanks. My pleasure.
No, we did it in one. You should see the blooper. You should see the blooper wheel. John and I were. I'm saying your line, you're saying my line.
Oh.
And Richard's got us walking up.